The photo spread slowly, but the impact was incredible. A man in military uniform sits with his head bowed, his hands clasped in his lap, shoulders straightened but his face harboring an unusual calmness. Opposite her, a female interviewer sits neatly with her hands clasped together on a simple wooden table. No flashy microphones, no exaggerated spotlights, no grandiose stage. Only a table, 2 chairs, and silence felt so dense. That was the moment that was later remembered as Cha Eunwoo's first interview as an active soldier. Not as an idol, not as an actor, but as soldier Lee Dongmin. From the beginning, the atmosphere of this interview was noticeably different from the interviews of celebrities in general. Cha Eunwoo didn't come with the typical smile he used to show on the red carpet. He came in at a calm pace, gave a brief salute according to military protocol, and then sat down without much movement. The striped uniform he wore looked fitting, neat, and simple. No accessories, no styling. Only the emblem of the South Korean flag on his arms is a marker of his identity as a soldier of the country. When the camera starts recording, the first few seconds are spent in silence. Lee Dongmin lowered his head, as if gathering thoughts. His eyes were not looking for the camera, nor was he looking directly at the interviewer. There was a long pause, an uncut pause, and that was precisely what left many viewers speechless. In that pause, the public seemed to witness the transition of a big star into an ordinary man who was going through the quietest and most honest phase of life. The interviewer opens with a simple question about the news of the day. Lee Dongmin lifted his head slowly, took a short breath, then answered in a low, steady voice. He said that it was an ordinary day, but the word ordinary sounded very different from the mouth of a person who for many years lived in a tight schedule and in the spotlight of cameras. For him, habit now means getting up early with a whistle, physical exercises, routine duties, and quiet evenings without audience cheers and the interview. Lee Dongmin admitted that wearing a military uniform in front of the camera for the first time gave him mixed feelings. There is a heavier sense of responsibility, not because of the camera, but because of the uniform itself. He said that when he wears this uniform, he no longer represents himself, but the institution and his colleagues. Every movement, every word feels to be guarded. The gaze that often comes back down is one of the most talked about things from these photos and interviews. Many interpret it as a sign of fatigue. Some see it as a form of humility, and others consider it a deep reflection. In his explanation, Lee Dongmin said that looking down does not mean weakness, but rather a way to calm down and remember the position. He does not want to get carried away by his old habits as a public figure. He also talked about the biggest change he's felt since entering the military. It's not about the physical, it's not about the schedule, it's about the solitude. He admitted that he only understood how quiet the night was when the barracks lights were turned off, when there was no sound of cell phones, no music, and there was no next schedule waiting. In that silence, he began to hear his own thoughts more clearly. When asked about his identity as the world-known Cha Eunwoo, Lee Dongmin answered honestly that in the military, the name is almost never called. He was Dongmin or Soldier Lee. At first it felt awkward, even a little empty, but slowly it felt relieved. He said that for the first time in a very long time, he didn't need to be anyone but himself. The interview also touched on Lee Dongmin's relationship with his colleagues. He stressed that there is no special treatment. He ate together, trained together, and received reprimands like any other soldier. I am so grateful to be able to learn from people with very different backgrounds. According to him, that's where he learned about the real cooperation, not the disconnariacan. The interviewer asked if he missed the show. Lee Dongmin was silent for a long time before answering. It doesn't say yes or no directly. He only said that longing is a natural feeling, but at the moment he prefers to focus on what lies ahead of him. He believes that each phase of life has its own time, and right now is the time to learn and live obligations. The photo taken during the interview later became a symbol of a major change in Lee Dongmin's life. His upright posture but calm face, a simple wooden table that separates the two worlds, and the interviewer's casual clothes that contrast with his military uniform, all create a powerful visual composition. No glamour, no dramatization, just honesty. Many fans claim to be surprised to see this side of Cha Eunwoo. They are used to seeing her smile brightly, confidently, and radiantly. But in this interview, what is noticeable is a man who is learning to restrain himself, observe and listen. That's exactly what makes it feel closer and more real. Korean media called this interview one of the most memorable military interviews in recent years. not because of the sensational recognition, but because of its simplicity. Lee Dongmin did not try to build a new image. He only tells what he feels without exaggerating, without hiding. At the end of the interview, the interviewer asks a message for the public. Lee Dongmin lowered his head again for a moment, then said that he hoped that the public could see the soldiers not only as symbols of the country, but as ordinary people who are learning to be responsible. It also thanks those who wait patiently, not with demands, but with understanding. When the camera was turned off, Lee Dongmin returned a brief salute before leaving the room. No wave of the hand, no big smile. But it is precisely in simplicity that this interview leaves such a deep impression. The photo is now not just a documentary, but a portrait of transition, from the glare of the stage lights to the dim light of the barracks, from Eunwoo the idol to Lee Dongmin the soldier. After the interview was aired, the public reaction appeared almost in unison, not in the form of sensation or debate, but rather the collective silence felt in the comments and social media. Many wrote that they watched the interview without consciously holding their breath, as if afraid to spoil the atmosphere with the expectations that had been attached to Cha Eunwoo's name. This time, those present were not flawless perfect figures, but rather a young man who was serving his country's obligations with full awareness and humility. Some media analysts highlighted how Lee Dongmin's body language during interviews spoke more than his words. Its slightly forward-leaning sitting position suggests a listening, not domineering attitude. Her hands clasped in her lap reflect self-control, while her often downcast gaze signals deep reflection. All this creates the impression that he is not presenting himself, but is fully present as the individual he is. This interview is also considered an important moment in the history of military coverage of public figures in South Korea. During this time, many celebrity military interviews tend to highlight the success of adapting or heroic side. But in this conversation, Lee Dongmin instead talks about discomfort, about the slow learning process, and about the realization that he is not special in his new environment. It's this honesty that makes the story feel relevant to anyone who has ever felt like they had to start from scratch. In one passage that was later widely quoted, Lee Dongmin said that the military taught him about time that cannot be accelerated. He was used to living on a busy schedule that was always moving fast, but in the military there were long periods of waiting for his turn, waiting for instructions, waiting for the day to change. According to him, it was there that he learned about patience and about accepting circumstances without the need to constantly prove himself. The interviewer also prefers not to press with sensational questions. He gives space, allowing silence to be part of the dialogue. This approach reinforces the impression that the interview is not simply a question and answer session, but rather a human conversation between two respectful individuals. A simple wooden table between them became a silent witness of an honest and not far-fetched process of sharing. The spotlight is also on how Lee Dongmin talks about collective responsibility. He stressed that whatever he did during his stint could not be released from the team. He mentions the names of colleagues more often than he calls himself. This was judged to be a quick reflection of the military values that he had begun to internalize, that success did not belong to individuals, but to the result of joint work. For fans, this interview became a moment of redefinition. Many claim to feel calmer after seeing him in a healthy, stable condition and thinking clearly. Some say that it is precisely in military uniforms and a simple atmosphere that Lee Dongmin looks the most mature. No more distance built up by the stage or screen, just the physical distance of a table separating two chairs.